What's going on, guys? It's Shadow from SG TCG, bringing you guys the final round at the Sully's Abode Loco. I ended up facing another Lucci. So this day I faced three Luccis. I did not film one of the rounds because I just didn't want to record three Lucci matches that day. Um, but I ended up losing the dice roll. He chose to go second, so I ended up going with Curve. I did not have Perona in that opening hand, and I had it this turn, but I decided to just high roll and just do leader ability. And I ended up hitting the Croc off leader ability, which was perfect. He swung 5 at it with leader. I decided to counter out with the pudding to protect it so that next turn I can swing with it and apply pressure to Luch. He taps 4, he plays out a Borsalino. So when he blocks it on my turn, it is a 6k. So I'm at 4 or 5 Don. I attach 2 to Dofi. I tap 1 to do the Perona this turn so I could see the stack and figure out how exactly I want to do it. Um, the stack really wasn't that great. I end up stacking the Croc at the top, or the Mihawk at the top, so that I can have another body to swing next turn. And I believe I do Mihawk to Law, and then I slide the Croc to the next spot. So when I do leader ability again, I could get another 4 or 5 body on the field, and then Dofies will come to my hand, and I could restack again when needed after the next turn swing. So I attach it down to Croc, swing 6 at life. So if he decides to block with the Borsalino, he would still have to chuck a card. If I just swung for 5, he would have had a free chump block with the Borsa. So he blocks, counters out with a 2k. Then I swing 7 with leader. He blocks with the Borsalino and adds another 2k on top. So now he's down 3 cards. I believe he chucked 2 1ks to get out of the crocodile swing. So good for me. Less cards in hand that I got to deal with for late game. And now I have 3 bodies on the board. 2 that are rested, so he could apply pressure. He is at 6 Don this turn. So he swings 5 at the Mihawk. I counter out with the Gecko to protect it. And I believe he taps 5 and plays out a Sabo. Oh, he swings 6 with the Borsalino first at the Mihawk again. Counter for 2k so I could put the pressure. Really chucking a lot of cards out in hand, which could be risky. But my game plan is, since I have Perfume, I want to get him down to no life as soon as I can before he could get the Mori out, so that I could get him in that Perfume range. So he ends up playing the Sabo. I have Gravity Blade in hand, which right now is I end up just playing it to bottom deck his Borsalino and Sabo. So I get rid of 2 bodies at once. And now I swing 5 across the board. So I start with the Mihawk, swing 5. And I think he takes it. Yep. And he triggers stage, which is perfect for him. Swing 5 with the Croc. He takes it again. And I swing 5 with leader. And he counters out with Rebecca this time. So this turn, 2 swings made it through, which is perfect. It would not have happened if I didn't save the Mihawk. But at this point, I am low in hand. 3 cards in hand, but I have all 5 life. And he's got a clear board, which is the opposite of how a Lucci match usually goes. So he swings 5 with leader, does leader ability, and I believe does -1 to Mihawk. And then he plays out the Gecko to Rebecca to Suru. So he does the Gecko play. So Gecko to Rebecca, Suru. Suru minuses 2 off the Croc, and he did -1 from leader and stage to get the Mihawk down to 1. So that's a 2-1. Rebecca grabs Spandine. Spandine plays out. Here he had a mini heart attack. He thought he didn't have enough CP cards to do Spandine's ability. But then Spandine's going to grab that Lucci and put other 3 cards to the bottom of the deck and pop my Croc and Mihawk off the field. 1 turn establishes 5 bodies. That is the Lucci special right there. So at this point, it's looking rough. I do have 4 life. I think I was debating on how to do this turn, so I end up just attaching I'm at 9 Don, so I attach 7. I swing 7 at life, and I rest the Don to get a body out, which is the Dofi, which allows me to stack my next couple cards. I mean, ideally, looking at this stack, I really don't have much going for me. I think I just put the croc at the top so I can get into another 2K, which is ideally the move. Oh, I don't know what I was thinking right there. But yeah, next turn I'm gonna need that too. Oh no, I do Jinbei. So I think I put Perona at the top, Jinbei, and then next turn I'm gonna do leader ability, Jinbei to Weevil, and then Weevil will get me that croc. So that's how I was thinking of anticipating that next turn. And then the following I would draw into Dofi for a blocker if needed. So I swung 7. He ended up blocking with that Rebecca. I play the Boa. Boa stuns Gecko, so he can't swing at me in the next turn. And then it bottom decks the Suru. I really don't ever trigger Suru's ability, or I mean Boa's ability to bottom deck. So he thought it was gonna go back to hand, so I had to double check and read that to make sure, and it ended up being bottom decked, which is perfect because now he can't do a Gecko play and grab that Suru and do another -2 cost reduction if he gets another Gecko. Which at this point he basically has no trash to really do a big Gecko play like that again. So I passed the turn after that, and here he's trying to figure out a way on how to remove my entire field. And he gets me pretty good here. So he is at 10 Don. He should be at 10 Don. That was at 9. He still hasn't drawn his Don cards. But he's going to end up, I believe, swinging 6 with his leader or 5. And -1 on, I believe it goes to Dofi. But he's really doing that just to filter more cards into his trash for a later game play. So yeah, he swings 5 at life. I end up taking it, which I draw into another 2K. -1 on the Dofi. I believe next he taps 1 Don. Oh no, swings 6 at life. I counter out for 2K. I don't want to take too much hits because again, I'm trying to make it to the next turn and get him down to no life. So he swings 6. I counter out for 2. Here he's gonna tap 1 and play Ice Age. So now he grabs his Don, but Ice Age to reduce the Boa down to 1 cost, and then he taps 3 and plays out the EB01 Brook on play -1, pop a 0 cost. So Boa gets popped, taps 6 more to play the other Brook that trashes a 4 cost or less, which Dofi was at a 2 by this point, and he passes turn. So he cleared my entire board, but now he only has 1 card in hand. So, and he has 2 life. I was trying to figure out how to go about this turn because it's not the best position to be in at the moment. But I decide to attach 5 Don to Perona to buffer up to 7. So if he does have a counter card, whether it's a 2K or not, the 7K swing of Perona will go through. So that's the play I end up doing. I attach the 1 Don to that Perona, or the 5 Don to Perona, swing 7. He has to take it. He has no blockers on the field, so the attack goes through. I could have swung at Lucci, but regardless, he still has 5 other swings, or 4 other swings, and then his leader swing. So wasn't the move in my eyes. So Perona swing goes, it connects, no trigger. I attach 4 Don to Dofi, and I use leader ability, and it plays out the Jinbei, and then Jinbei is going to play out Weevil, which draws me the other card, which is a 2K with how I stacked it. Attack goes through because whether he has 2Ks, it's going to go. He would need at least 3 cards to get out of a 9K swing. And now we're set up. Next turn, after his, I could just play Perfume and go for game if I survive the turn. He does have a full board, and he could swing out depending on how he attaches all his Don. But I have 5 cards in hand, 3 life left. For all he knows, again, they could all be counter cards, and I could draw into more counter in life. So he swings out with, I believe it's Lucci first, and he only swings for 6. Should have swung for 7, just because it would have forced me to use 2 cards to counter if I was trying to get out of the swing. So he ends up swinging 6 with Brook, but regardless, it's still a 6K swing. I counter out with the 2K. I survive 1 out of, 6 swings, 6 potential swings he could have did. Because he could have also stacked Don on Spandine and swung. He swings 6 with Lucci. I counter out again with another 2K. And here he's trying to figure out how he wants to do this. I wasn't sure if he had a Gecko in hand, because if he played a Gecko, he could have established a Rebecca, but he couldn't block, KO anything, since Spandine is on the field, and I don't think he has enough CP cards on the field by this point. He tapped stage to get Weevil down to 2. And I think he attaches 1 to leader and swings 6. Or I think he does 7. Nope, so he does 6 to lead again. I counter out with the law swing, or law counter, bringing Weevil down to 1. So he's got 9 Don left. Next, he's going to attach a Don to Brook. And then... Oh, well, first he swings Spandine to Perona. I just let it go. Now we're saving. I don't need it anymore. We all know what I'm going to do next turn. But he attaches a Don to Brook, and he's going to swing 5 at the Jinbei. I could have saved Jinbei because I do have a 1K counter in hand, which is the Perona. I end up just letting it go. I don't need it. I already know what I'm going to do next turn. I could have saved it and baited out that Gecko swing to Jinbei, but by this point, he has no other swings. It's not even worth saving it. I was able to counter out of all the other swings, but that Brook ends up popping the Weevil and KOing the Jinbei. And then he's going to tap 4, and he's going to replace the Spandine with a Khalifa, which allows him to draw 2 cards and trash 2 cards, which lets him filter out his hand to get rid of any bricks. The only thing is he does lose a 2K doing this play. But at this point, he was trying to find an option to be able to survive. He was anticipating a Red Rock or a Gravity Blade, and then me swinging either 8 or 9, which, who knows, he could have gotten enough counter to get out of it, and then I would have lost on the next turn. But with the Khalifa, he ends up finding a Borsellino blocker, and he ends up playing that out and passing turn. I draw for turn, and I just tap the 2 Don, and I play Perfume to make my Dofi leader unblockable and swing for 15, and that's game. If you guys like the channel, make sure you guys subscribe, like the video, and comment down below what you guys want to see next time. Catch you on the next one.